Hello, everybody. How have you been? I was looking back at my videos and realized there has been a ton of stuff happening in the shop. Now, I have not been producing a lot of videos because I have been busy. And I've had people send me notes. Hey, Bob, how are you doing? Are you okay? Just checking on me. And, I really appreciate that. It means a lot. So I thought what I would do is I made a list. It's actually 2 pages here of what I've been working on in the shop. And I thought I would go ahead and just run through that. So it's going to pretty well just be a long video of what's been going on in the shop. So if you're not interested in that, you might want to slip on to something else. Otherwise, stay tuned and hang on because, man, I have been busy. Check it out. The first project that I've put a lot of time into, and I kind of alluded to it on the last video, I didn't want to mention it then because it was a birthday present for our daughter. I made this turtle planter. While I was working on the turtle planter, I had a second project going. It was a porch swing made from solid cherry. There's not a single screw in this swing. The swing is held together by half laps and half-inch dowels. And I made the dowels for the swing myself out of the cherry cutoffs. This is a Christmas gift for our daughter and son-in-law. My daughter's in college, and college dorms are not that big. There's not a lot of room to get all of your stuff in the dorm. So I built this cool little shelving unit, and what it amounts to is the fridge is the anchor for the whole thing. Above the fridge, there's a place for her microwave. Above that, a place for her air fryer. On top of that, there is a shelf for her printer, and then the very top is just for storage. Down one side, I put some storage bins so that she could store food items, anything else she might want to have on hand. The other side has some display shelves so she could put a few of her trinkets. And then I mounted a TV on the side with the storage bins because that way she could swing her TV out of the way. It's on a swivel mount. She could swing it out of the way when she's not using it, but then she can swing it around to face any direction in the room so that she can watch TV, or what she does is watch her online lectures on that TV. This was a fun project. It takes a very small footprint. I mounted a 6-outlet power supply on it so that she has power for everything, because another thing in dorms that is very lacking is power. So this has been great, and all of her friends that come into her dorm are like, where did you get this? Everybody wants one. I think it would be a cool project to potentially produce, but it's not something that I want to do. I want to talk a little bit with you about the SWAT demo I did back in August. I did 2 demos for SWAT. I did Bespoke on a Budget, which is a demonstration I've done before, but I hadn't done it down at the SWAT show. It went over fantastic. I had so much participation, so many questions. It actually went over so well that the Alamo Turners, they were doing pin turning for kids, letting kids turn pins. They let me use one of their lathes, and I actually spent time down in their area and just invited people to come in. Anybody who wanted to could come in, and I turned a bespoke pin, and they could just watch, ask questions, see the tools. And this was an actual bespoke pin, not on a budget pin, so that they could kind of get an idea of the tools used and the process. And it was real informal, kind of like we'd just be hanging out in the shop. Initially, I thought when SWAT was over, because I was doing a lot of work, really preparing hard for it, that things would ease up. You're about to find out that's not the case. Things got insanely busy fast. This is a little gnome intarsia that I did for my wife. She absolutely loves intarsias. It's her favorite thing that I make in the shop, and she absolutely loves gnomes. So I saw this pattern, purchased it, and I made this for her, all of the steps, the entire process was documented on Patreon. So if you're interested in going back and seeing the process, you can see that on Patreon. Now, I do want to give a quick disclaimer. It's not on free Patreon. It's on my paid Patreon, and I do charge $1 a month for that. But all of the things I'm talking about on these lists, every single one of them was documented on Patreon. It's all there. You can go back and look at the history and see it all. Now, I said I've been busy, but don't think it's been all work and no play. My wife and I did take a little vacation. We went down to Pensacola, Florida. She spent a ton of time chilling on the beach with a good book. I spent a boatload of time metal detecting. Probably going to overlay some of my finds here just for fun. Had a great time. We did get run out of Pensacola by the pending hurricane, or pending at the time it hit. It was a nasty one, but we had to leave a little bit early for safety reasons. We're happy that we did, and we hope that everybody down there in Florida is safe. Here are some of my twist blanks. I made a boatload of twist blanks. I had a sale on YouTube, sold a bunch of blanks, moved all the rest of them over to my Etsy channel. There are still a few left, not many, because they have sold incredibly well. If you're interested, jump over to my Etsy store. There is a link in the description. Now, I want to show you something else that's at my Etsy store. I have a ton of blanks from past sales, and what I did is I went ahead and bundled them up, and I have posted these bundles at a very big discount on my Etsy store. Now, disclaimer, you're only going to see 5 bundles at a time. It takes a lot to put them out there, and I don't want to just dump them all out there because then it's too much to look through. So I put the first 5 on, and you'll notice 4 is missing. It's already sold. So 1 through 6 are actually on my Etsy channel. These are selling for $35 a bundle. That includes shipping to the United States, continental United States. And as I sell one, I'll add the next one, and so on and so on and so on until they're all gone. And the idea is I've got tons and tons of blanks. I am never going to turn all these blanks. If you're looking for Christmas gifts, look, there's some beautiful stuff in these packs of blanks. Better photos on Etsy because they don't have the tape on them. So check out my Etsy store. Look at some of my twist blanks. Take a look at some of these bundles. Maybe you want to get a bundle. I mean, if you're making Sierras, you've got 4 Sierra blanks, and you've got 3 long blanks that can be cut up to 2 to 3 Sierras a piece. I mean, you're looking at a ton of blanks or a ton of pins that can be made from these if you're making Christmas gifts or hitting a craft show. And the price is right. $35 a bundle. That includes shipping to the continental United States. Here's a little something else I've been working on. I absolutely love the Apollo and the Artimus pin kits from Bullseye Turning. So I'm experimenting with making twist blanks for those kits. Now, these are 2 that I made recently. The way it works is this would be the body. So this is the upper end of the body, and your writing instrument would be at this end of the body. It's capped with walnut. This is the cap, so this is the top of the cap, and this is the lower end of the cap, little walnut trim ring. This would thread onto the lower half of the pin, and this is long enough to cover the top blank and the bottom blank. Now, I've made these, but I haven't turned them yet. That's coming up shortly. May do a video on it. I'm not 100% sure. If they turn well, they look good, and I think they're going to work, I may produce some of these and sell them on my Etsy store. Not going to 100% guarantee that yet, but keep an eye on the Etsy store because that's where they'll show up. And if you like shopping at Bullseye Turning Supply, I have a discount code, RJB15, that will get you 15% off anything in your cart while you're shopping with Bullseye Turning. Here is some solid oak furniture that I purchased at an auction back in the spring. Now, this furniture is raw oak. It is unfinished. Basically just has a little beeswax and oil on it to finish it. So it needed some repair. Because it was unfinished, it made repair extremely easy. I took care of the repairs, and then I sanded down all of the worst spots. There were some burn marks on the top and some dings and dents. I sanded them all down, cleaned it all up with Murphy oil soap. Then we came back and reapplied the beeswax and oil, the same beeswax and oil that we used. We have this exact set of furniture in the master bedroom, but we were able to pick this up at an auction for a ridiculously low price, and I was able to put the time in, refurbish the furniture, and we now have a second set of beautiful raw oak furniture in our home, and we're really happy about this purchase. It turned out absolutely beautiful. Here's a couple of shots of a pin blank. Now, this is a neat blank. You're not going to see this on my Etsy store just yet. This is a blank that I am building, and I am documenting the build of this blank because this is going to be my demo for all of the shows I do in 2025 where I get asked to do a demonstration. I'm going to demo this blank, and I'm going to give away the instructions for how to make this blank in your own shop. If you can hit one of the pin shows that I'll be coming to, and the first one is going to be in March. It's the Mid-Atlantic Turner's Expo up in Manassas, Virginia. And if you can come to that show or one of the other shows that I attend this year, please do, because I'll be demoing and I'll be giving out the instructions on how to make this blank. And hopefully somewhere along the lines, I'll actually produce a batch of these blanks and put them out on my Etsy store for your purchase if you're interested. So please check back with the Etsy store often because things get added all the time, and you just never know what I'm going to pop out there. During my son's spring break, he brought 4 of his buddies home with him from college. Now, 2 of these young men went to Japan last summer for a couple of months to study Japanese, and they went to a stationery store and brought back some wood. I took that wood and cut it up and tubed it, and they were able to turn pins out of that wood. They'd never turned pins before, but I worked with them, showed them the process, and they each made a pin from the wood they purchased. The other 2 young men, I let them go up in the loft and pick any blank they wanted, and then they got to make a pin. So all 4 of those young men came out to the shop and made a pin of their own that now they are using at school. Here's something that I am really happy to have in the shop. This upper toolbox I bought last November at a vendor mall. I had it on a little shelf there, and I've been using it for all of my bespoke and my lathe turning tools. I had a chance to purchase this lower unit, and I took it. Now, the lower unit had wheels, but the wheels had been taken off years ago, and they didn't know what happened to them. And of course, new wheels are very expensive to get good ones that can hold this amount of weight. I really don't plan to roll it around, so I made myself a riser out of 2x6s, and I've mounted the bottom toolbox to the riser, and now I've got all of this extra storage space, all of these great shelves that I can put turning supplies in. And one of the shelves I'm dedicating to blanks so that I can keep all of my blanks that are on Etsy sorted and stored. So whenever someone buys one, I can come out here, I can grab the blank, and I don't have to worry about where's it at, because blanks are in the shop, blanks are in the house. Everything is stored right here in the toolbox. Super happy to have this in my shop. My son bought his first home. Really happy for him. He's super excited, and he invited me up to help him out with a few projects that he wanted to get done around the house. So in October, I went and spent a week with him, and here are some of the things that we did. We put shelves in his basement and in his garage. We rewired his garage, moving the lights around, adding lights, adding plugs, so that it was a little more laid out to what he needed. We added gutters, downspouts, and leaf guard to the garage. We added a new spigot to the house. There was no spigot in the backyard, only in the front yard, and he has a little garden that he wants to put in next year, so we added a spigot out there, water spigot for him. In the basement, he has a bathroom that did not have a vent. There's a shower in there, but no vent. And you don't want to do that because the moisture can cause mold. So we cut a hole in the house and added a vent so that he could exhaust that air from the shower. Those were the big projects. We had a bunch of small projects. We troubleshot some electrical issues. We fixed a screen door. We fixed a window. Day after day after day, we kept doing everything we could to kind of help him get as many of these little household projects done as he could so that he can really enjoy his new home. I've also had a lot of repairs around my own home. I added a couple of lights out back, a couple of floodlights. We have had just a ton of small projects that my wife has been wanting to get done, so I've been knocking those out. It's been keeping me extremely busy. I added a new heater to my shop. Now, this heater should heat the entire shop. It's 220, 5,000 BTUs, and you'll notice it's hanging at a bit of an angle. I did that because I didn't want it blowing straight down the wall, so I angled it out a little bit to blow into the shop. One thing that might be tough to see is you've got a knob there and a knob there. And I put some inserts in there so that when you set the heater up on that rack, you can just tighten the knob down and the heater won't vibrate off. It just kind of keeps it from moving. You come over here and you undo this little clip, you can then pull the heater out here into the big garage. And I've put a rack there, which also has inserts so that you can lock the heater in place. The heater could be hung out here because in the big garage, this is where we celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we have the family over, and we want to be able to heat this garage, and that should be enough to do that. If you follow along, you probably know that I got invited to come to the Digital Woodcarver open house, set up a table, and turn pins. There were a lot of people there. I had a great time. I hung out with an old buddy of mine, Laney Shaughnessy. Some of you old timers may remember Laney. He was a YouTuber. Now he pretty well just does videos for the Digital Woodcarver. I got a chance to turn. I turned 4 pins while I was there. I have some photos of some of them that you're probably seeing right now while I'm talking about it. But I had a fantastic time. I met some great people, and it just was a lot of fun. And thank you. A number of you came out and saw me. I got a chance to chat, real informal, and just spend time together. And it just was an all-around great event. I'm at a point now where my primary focus is going to be on that blank I discussed for the demos this coming year. And then I got a few small things going on, but I'm trying to just get away from all the excess stuff and focus on my demo blank. After that, I would love to get back to doing a few videos. I just have to meter my time, but I think I always say this, I think the big rush is over. I think I'm going downhill now. So hopefully keep your fingers crossed that the tide is turning and I'll be able to get back to doing videos for you guys. As I mentioned earlier, everything that I've done recently has been documented, fully documented over on Patreon. So if you're interested in following along with all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and that's where everything's been happening lately, Patreon's the way to do that. I'd like to thank you guys for joining me. This was a very long video. I hope you found it interesting, entertaining, just kind of seeing what I've been doing. I appreciate you watching. I'd like to thank you. I want you to know that you are always welcome in my shop. You come back and see me again real soon. Have a great evening.